we know what our competition is, Joe, and that's those order gatherers and those operators out there who are deceiving our consumers. Not the other flower shops in the town. We are in this as a team as florists. It is a family, and family takes care of family, and with that, everybody succeeds.
So the big question is this: how can small business owners like us in the floral industry overcome the greed of order gatherers and bypass the deceitful games played by wire services? How do we market, sell, and deliver flowers online so we may break free from these antiquated practices and earn our freedom? Those are some of the questions we will answer on this podcast. I'm Joe Vega. Welcome to Flower Shop Secrets. Watch now on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for new episodes. What's up, everybody? This is Joe Vega, and welcome to another Flower Shop Secret podcast. And today we have Mike Hollenbeck from Floral Artistry in Lewiston, Idaho. Is that how you pronounce that, Mike?
Lewiston? That is Lewiston,
okay.
Idaho. Yep.
I got that right.
After the famous Lewis and Clark. We're actually in a valley with Lewiston and Clarkson, Washington, right on the border. Gotcha. We have two cities and then a lot of rural communities around us.
Okay, perfect. So how much revenue did your flower shop make last year?
Well, last year was 2020. We had a flower shop close in the valley, which impacted us greatly. And then, of course, COVID, and we were on about a 50% increase. And then COVID hit. And then we thought we're going to drop. And then we found out that the COVID effect for Mother's Day and Easter was amazing. So we actually increased up to about 350 last year.
Wow.
So, and the most amazing thing, Joe, almost 40 to 50% of that now is coming in online.
That's incredible, right?
And it's growing. More and more volume is coming across on the webpage.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had an effect on walk-ins, right? People they don't feel safe, especially back then. Now it feels a little safe. Just wear a mask, you're good. But before it was like, wait, no, I'm going to stay home and be safe. So I can use my phone, my computer. That's a lot better. It's pretty scary times before,
It is. And not to understate it. It's been an adventure. But I think that's sort of the reason we're doing this podcast is we have to share information from our industry as a florist to other florists to know if we're doing the right things. I think a thread to this, when you ask me about what do I want to talk about, I think a common thread today is going to be education, whether it be education about your business, about your product, about your customers, about your sales. I think it's all going to fall under that heading of education. And
right.
And you providing these podcasts is one way of doing that.
Absolutely. So, but before we get to that, can you just give us a little bit of a story in terms of how did you get started in the floral industry? Because I know you've been around for a while. So how did you get started?
No, I just started last week. It seems like it, Joe. Oh my gosh. Yeah. For all you listeners, they sent out this questionnaire and we filled these out. And I started thinking about that and I'm going, has it been 30 years? It has been, and it seems like last week. And I think that's the important thing is the time flies so fast in this industry. It seems like I can remember orders from 20, 30 years ago, and it seems like yesterday. But I actually got started out of high school. I was got a part-time job delivering flowers, and sort of fun to see the reaction of people, the smiles, the response. It was fun hustling in and out. I was sweeping the back of the flower shop. I was processing flowers. Pretty soon I started answering the phone and learning how to become a salesperson. And then I started getting, they'd get inventory. It's a gift shop. So I started doing displays up front and window displays. And then one day the designer that we had working for it, she literally went on a walkabout to Australia. Literally got on a jet and went to Australia on a walkabout, and we didn't have a designer. Well, my boss at the time, Gary, he advertised, had a couple of people come in, they worked out for a while, and I was doing everything else at the shop except for putting flowers into the vase.
Mhm.
And I asked him to show me some tricks to teach me again. And I said, I'll punch out when I get done with deliveries, show me some things and I'll start practicing. And about 2 weeks later, he told me to stay punched in. So that's how I started the journey of becoming a florist.
So right out of high school, you were in high school, you got a part-time job during the summer, and then you fell in love with it.
I did. And then joined the Marine Corps, went to college. It's a perfect part-time job. So I was able to, run morning deliveries, go to my morning classes, come back, run the midday deliveries, pick up another class or a lab, come back and finish the other deliveries. Those were the days. But actually, and then 30 years ago, I opened up Floral Artistry. So
Mhm.
we started in basically a duplex, and I was doing custom orders for weddings. And then I was able to open up a small 300 square foot retail location in downtown Lewiston. And wow, yeah, 31 years ago this Mother's Day.
It doesn't seem like it, does it?
No, no, I don't ever imagine not doing this because someone told me back in junior high school, and I think this is something I want to pass along. Um, because the floral industry doesn't or hasn't in the past, and we're working to change that, pay what it should pay.
Mhm.
And we as florists are to blame for that. We
Mhm.
have to fix that. But at the time, my teacher said, we got a lumber mill here. And he said, you can go out and make 20 bucks an hour, work in swing chip, get your 2 weeks off. And most of those people hate their lives. Some love it. Most of them become alcoholics, just not enjoying life at all. They just hate work. They look forward to the weekends. Or you can find something that you're good at and you enjoy doing, and someone's willing to pay you a little bit for it. And if you can do that, you're going to find life a lot more rewarding. And I sort of fell into that. This is something I have a talent for that I didn't know at the time. I enjoy doing it. And oh my gosh, people are willing to pay. So it's a win-win. If you enjoy doing, we all know the saying, if you enjoy doing what you love, you never work a day in your life. And
Right.
for us, that's flowers.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges right now for flower shops is attracting good employees or attracting talented employees. Um, do you see high school or college temporary work being a solution to that problem?
I do. Again, right now, I have always employed high school students whenever I can.
Mhm.
I think it's an important part of their education to get in the workforce. Um, but I hope we can continue to keep doing that. I don't want to make this political, but if the government changes the minimum wage, that's going to prohibit a lot of us brick and mortar flower shops from that opportunity of hiring young people because we can't pay them 15 bucks an hour when they don't know anything.
Mhm.
So I hope that the florists that are listening to this understand. Yes, we want to pay a workable wage, but there also has to be a way of doing that. And I want to share this with you. I found a, a I don't know what the proper word is, but it's through the um, United States job search, and it's an apprentice program. So what I've started doing is I have my employees, and they're registered as a state of Idaho apprentice to become a flower shops, and so we're training, and after 2,000 hours, she become a journey person if she accomplishes all of the prerequisites set up by the United States government, job fair, and that is we're just getting starting that, just starting to implement that. So I'm
Mhm.
really happy because I think the European model of having the younger people train in the industry and then they become again journeymen and then masters at their craft because this is really a skill.
Mhm.
We know that, and you just can't jump into it. You have to learn all of the techniques and the principles and elements to be a proper design, and it just doesn't come overnight. It takes time. So this apprentice program, I'm really looking forward to. And I think it will also go well with our um, schools. I know as a member of AIFD, I'm always pushing education, and our accredited schools like Floral Design Institute in Portland, down in Miami, we've got Ruben and their school down there. There's so many different schools that my friends have, and this is one way of taking that on the job experience as I learned, and then you add on those classes that we go to that will help them become a designer if they choose to. Also, it opens up the doors in the industry as a grower, as a chemist, as oh my gosh, think about the new flora gene carnations that we have. We have genetic engineering in floristry now, and there's so many different jobs that we can do, and I'm proud to be part of AIFD, and we are really involved with the FFA. In Clarkson, Washington, we have an FFA floral design class that I volunteer and go and teach, and we have them come over, and we've had a couple of employees from that program. So yes, encourage all of our listeners, try to reach out into your high schools, look for that FFA program. There are a lot of part-time employees out there.
Mm,
Another thing that our school has here, Joe,
mm,
so you opened up a good can, is they have a outreach program for students that aren't in the um, regular curriculum, and they
mm,
come and they get on the job experience, and their um, abilities are different than ours, so we employ them to come down, and they help us by learning how to do a trade job. So they're doing some washing the buckets, and they're putting away flowers, and they're washing the windows, and they're taking the greens and sticking them into Oasis and learning how to pre-green. And we even taught some of the special students how to do roses in a vase. Oh my gosh, for 2 hours, 3 times a week, an invaluable process. And it's a great tie into the community and to help these young students get out into the job world and find something that they like to do or capable of doing.
that sounds fantastic. You keep going back to education, and I think you're 100% correct. It's all about, having a growth mindset and keeping the education going. As a floral designer, what is the importance of keeping up with education? Is education a priority? And how would a
I
florist do this?
I think, Joe, education should be number one on any florist. I, I shared this on our inner circle yesterday. In our valley, when I first opened, we had 7 brick and mortar flower shops.
Mm,
And I remember going to some of our weekend education programs that were sponsored by Teleflora and some of the other wire services, and even AIFD. We would go up, and there would be a panel of 3 designers, um, and they would do all these wonderful bouquets, and we would be able to ask them questions and learn how to do those things. But there was always our shop, and maybe one other shop would go to that. And then we would come back, and I would go to a funeral service, and I'd see the other designers work, and nothing ever changed. They never tried to keep up with the times. Um, and I'm of the thing, if you're not growing, you're dying. And growing translates into educating yourself and learning the new techniques and what are the trends. Because if you're not keeping up, we're going to get left. It'd be like Joe right now, you trying to do our webpage on the old dial-up modem. Beep, 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 beep. It's not possible. We have to be looking at those new solutions. And we were just talking about this the other day. Just because it's the way we've always done it doesn't mean we should still be doing it. It's a new day. And I hate to use that pun, the new normal, but it, every day is a new normal. And if we don't look at it that way, there's going to be one shop left in this valley. Because right
right.
now we went from 7 to 2, and I think a part of that, Joe, was that they never implemented those changes. They never went and took a risk to show something new.
Mm,
Um, and that's what people want to see. They don't want to go into a flower shop and see something they've seen 100 million times. They want to see something creative and different. That's where the growing and the other jobs in this industry are coming from. All of the new colors, all the new varieties, all the new long-lasting roses that we have are because of education and our younger students getting into this industry.
So you mentioned 7 to 2. You mean there were 7 flower shops in your area, in your town, and now there's only 2?
Two brick and mortar flower shops. And then, of course, we got an Albertsons, which is a local grocery store, a Rosars, and a Costco. And most of our viewers are going to know. And I'm not dogging the grocery store flowers. There are a lot of great flower designers that work in grocery stores. But, okay, if that's a trend, what can we learn from that? So you just can't knock it. You have to look at it, and it's a fact. Is that my competition? Not really. We know what our competition is, Joe, and that's those order gatherers and those operators out there who are deceiving our consumers. Not the other flower shops in the town.
Man, you have no idea how much I want other florists to have that mindset that you just had right now. I love that, because it's, I can say that till the cows come home, but it doesn't stick a lot of times. And that is, maybe if they hear it from you, from other florists, then they'll start believing it. And that is the guy down the street from you, the guy across the street from you. In today's world, it's not truly your competitor. Competitors are
No,
online. That's where the
absolutely.
battle is being. Yeah.
Absolutely, Joe. And we've got a good working relationship with our other flower shop here. If she needs something and I have it, I'll let her borrow it. If I need something, I can call her up, because
Wow.
she has people that like her design. And design is art, is subjective. That's good. But people like my designs too. We will have enough of our own customers. The key is to keep those customers coming to us as a professional. And I think the first thing is I want to share with all of the people listening is, you are a florist. You are a professional. Start thinking of yourself that way, and start paying yourself that way. I was reading a thread on one of the florists Facebook posts today, and they wanted to take a wedding on a holiday, and it's always been a family holiday. And they were pulled. Do I take time away from my family? Do I even take this wedding? And I don't do a lot of posts on that, but again, it ties into right what we're talking about here. Charge what it's worth. Have anybody out there tried to call a plumber on the 4th of July? If your toilets are backed up and you have to have the plumber come and fix it, you're going to get a 3 times labor rate at least. So just pay yourself, or say you're busy. It's okay. But if you're going to do it, make sure you pay yourself as a professional. Make sure you're getting those labor charges. Quit giving your art away, because if we keep doing that, this brick and mortar is going to be swallowed by the box stores. And we saw this 30 years ago when they started bringing flowers into the grocery stores. And the other mass marketers saw it too. Okay, well, we can even cut out the grocery stores. We can do mail order. And that's why we have the order gatherers and the mail flower delivery people, because they saw this market. So we have to give them something they cannot get from that. And that's our creativity, which goes directly back to education. And how do we make it better? How do we make it more unique?
Absolutely. You can't be afraid to charge what you think your art is worth, right? So if especially during a timing is everything, like you said. If you're not calling a plumber or anybody during the 4th of July and expect the same rates, just like hotels, right? They charge a lot more money depending on, the time of the
That's
year
a
it is.
great example. That's a really good example. And it changes. It's different for every shop in every area, but don't just give it away. I mean, if I'm booking a day and it's on a weekend, especially for 4th of July, when I'm usually booked to go to a symposium for AIFD, it needs to be a pretty big size wedding to keep me here, because that's important to me.
Mm.
So I make that choice. And that's what every individual business owner can do. But that way, I just think you can sleep at night and know you're making the right decision. Because I always say, if find something you don't want to sell, price it high enough that if you sell it, you're really not that upset because you got the money back for it. So it's
Right.
okay. You got to find that. Everybody has their own spot for that.
Sounds like you're really involved in the floral community. You do a lot of shows, a lot of educational. How has the pandemic affected that side of the of the floor industry for you?
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm in a box chained to my store, which is not bad. But yeah, we've had several conferences canceled. We've had our WUFA is we were planning to go to that in Green Bay last year and this year, and of course symposium in Chicago has been canceled. A lot of our trade shows at the floral wholesale houses have been canceled. So again, it's a lot harder, and you have to try even harder to push yourself. And I think with the webcasts, like you're doing the podcast, and some of the competitions that AIFD is coming out, and a lot of my friends and teachers are doing their own private little videos that they're sharing on Facebook. This industry has really sort of mirrored another industry, and I think that's the music and entertainment industry. Because if
Mm.
you think of artists that give of themselves, that gift, that voice, or if they're playing an instrument live, I haven't been to a live show in 2 years. It's the same thing about the flowers. I haven't been to a live flower program in 2 years because of the social distancing and all of the things we have to be careful of. And I just cannot wait to get back into that. Um, that's the big thing that I think has hurt us, and we're going to see a big push as soon as we can start getting back together. Uh, but it's almost like a pause. I can't wait to see what comes out of this, because in talking to some of my musician friends, they either succeed or you fail. You're either going to put your time into it, and the ones that have put their time into it have come up with some amazing creative processes, and some of the new material coming out is just awe-inspiring. And the ones that don't disappear into the darkness. So
Right.
it really becomes a challenge to each of the designers. What do you want to do with your life? You want to get better, then put the time in and make yourself better. Challenge yourself. Come up with new profitable ways to enjoy your hobby, which is paying you. As we are not hobbyists, maybe we have some hobbyists out there, but I always say, I remember a program, and my friend Tim Farrell, AIFD, asked the audience, what's the definition of a professional florist?
Mm.
I'm going to ask the viewers out there, just for a second, think about what do you define as a professional florist? And we got lots of answers, but it comes down to displaying permanent and natural botanical foliages in an artistic manner for a profit. You can't forget that last part, because if it's not for profit, then we are just hobbyists.
Mhm.
So challenge yourself again to make sure that it is a profession, if that's what you're trying to do, and look at everything that encapsulates into that. And just to bring that back in, so why we're talking is because this industry is changing with COVID. And even before that, I think COVID has just put this on speed burners, like light speed, about internet. And thank goodness we met 3.5, 4 years ago at AIFD symposium at a trade fair. Again, education. I was impressed with your product, and it was a good decision, because Lovingly is, like you said, the fastest web page out there that we know of, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that I'm going to let you go on from there, because that's what has enabled me to market our shop differently. And I think where our successes are going, we are now putting a lot more time into our web page display, as much as I do my showroom display, making sure I get new pictures on, making sure I'm checking prices, making sure that the pictures on there represent something that we have available. And your webpage allows me to customize that for my area. And I think for anybody listening, I think Lovingly is a great way to do that, because very quickly I can go in and add in a new balloon, change the prices. Maybe the pricing recipe is whoever did it in New York City, and it's different here. So I can change that price really quick. That has helped. Our average order, Joe, is almost up to $100.
How does that feel?
Crazy.
How does that feel?
And, someone said work smarter, not harder. I'm all in. I'll do $100 orders before I want to do $150 orders. Absolutely. Right. Hey, I got a story, Joe. I know we're running short. I wanted to give you a little story because that sort of ties in about this. One of the questions you asked, do I have any stories about the floral industry that really stay on the top of my mind? And this happened one Father's Day, not even Mother's Day. This happened Father's Day. We had a lady call up, and she wanted to send a apple pie and balloons to her dad. I don't sell apple pies. I'm a florist. What do you mean? But we try not to say no. Absolutely, we can do that for you. I know where I can pick up an apple pie, and I have balloons. And so we took the order. I charged her like $15 to go pick, like $30 order. And my delivery driver is going, what's this? I have a pie and a balloon. Where's the flowers? And my delivery guy's, he was a gruff, bald-headed guy like me, and he's like, oh, what do you mean? I'm not going to deliver flowers. I'm going to deliver pie, deliver flowers. Like, just do it, Bill. It's going to be okay. So Bill went to the door, this trailer, and knocked on the door. Dog was barking. He hears this gruffer voice than his or mine. Who the hell is it? He goes, this is Bill from Floral Artistry. I have a delivery. He says, well, come on in, bring it in. Well, Bill walks in. Gentleman's a vet, and he is disabled. He's sitting in his chair. The ward took his legs, and he's sitting there with the beer and watching some TV. And gruff man goes, oh, what the hell is that? He goes, well, it's a pie and a balloon saying Happy Father's Day. Well, who's that from? Well, there's a card right here. Let's open it up. So Bill opened up the card and read it and said, Happy Father's Day. Love your daughter, blah, blah, blah. Silence. Literally silence. Bill said, tears started coming down his eyes, and he started getting choked up. Finally, he said, I haven't heard from my daughter in 25 years.
Wow.
Bill goes, here's the phone. Sounds like a good time for AT&T. He picked up the phone, gave it to the gentleman, and he called his daughter. I think that is one of the best stories I have about how we as florists, even from a designer all the way to our delivery people, affect people's lives.
Mike, that story literally just gave me chills. Well, that's a beautiful story. When did that happen?
It happened about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it stuck with me. The importance of what we do.
Right.
We can't forget that this is somebody's feeling. It's a bouquet. We're in a hurry, but it still matters. And if we can hang on to that as an industry, we're going to be okay. It made me realize that as a florist, we get tied up in our everyday busy lives of washing buckets and dealing with my flowers were frozen, we got to replace them. There's a lot of negatives. We have to keep reminding ourselves, why did we get into this? Right. And it's to touch people's lives. We change people's lives one flower at a time, and we have the research to show that. And anytime, that's why I guess we take it back. Why this story came up is because the order gatherers are not, they don't have that. It's a money, it's a commodity. Mm-hmm. Us brick and mortar real florists, we understand that. And we are the people that can convey that to our client base and to our customers.
That story just showcases the fact that you're more than just florist, right? Not just to say you're just florist, but the fact that you were able to deliver an apple pie and a balloon and you made a grown man cry out of happiness. I mean, that's a beautiful story. After this, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go tell my wife that story. That's how wonderful that story is. I love
Well, I'm
that.
glad I could share that, Joe. I'm glad I could share. The I'll tell one more funny story, because
Sure.
back in the beginning, you asked me how I got started. So, how did I become a designer? I always joke that I started delivering, and when bouquets would tip over in the van, I would fix them. So I didn't want to bring them back. I'd get in trouble. I was so petrified. I delivered a rose in a vase, and somehow the head broke off. And I'm thinking, oh God, I'm going to get in trouble. My first day, I broke a rose. I'm going to get fired on my first day. So back in the day, we had those little straight pins that we put the pins on the big bow that was on the rose.
Mhm.
So I took a straight pin and I put the rose back together and I delivered it. I'm thinking, oh, that worked. I solved the problem. Next day I come in. Guess what's standing on the table? Rose tipped it over.
With
I will love my boss at the time. He didn't fire me. He identified the fact that I solved the problem. Probably not the best way, but I solved the problem. He said, next time, of course, bring it back. We'll replace it. This happens occasionally. This was back 30 years ago when roses weren't as strong as they are now. And but to share with people as we're training our employees, just because it's not the way that you would do it doesn't mean it's wrong. I think we need to keep our eyes open, because the younger designers that are getting into the industry, they are looking at things totally different because of how they are getting bombarded with media at 1 year old. They're doing things that we didn't do till our teens with computers. So look at things with a fresh eye. Don't be afraid to try it. You can always not do it, but the
right.
fear of not trying is going to limit your ability to succeed.
Yeah, you got to try. I do have to ask you one last question though. How has your website been instrumental in improving your bottom line?
Oh gosh. I just did the analytics, and like I said, we are up over every month through last month, almost 40 to 50% over the previous year on web orders. Valentine's Day, I know we have the Sunday hangover. It was trending a little lower, but today we're up. Yesterday we were up. Tomorrow we're up. So by the end of the month, I'm not going to be surprised if we're not up again, even with the Sunday President's Day long weekend of the Valentine's Day. It just was more spread out. We didn't see that big bang. What I'm seeing though is that the COVID effect, that the web page is uh, without it, we would not have survived the shutdowns. There's just no way. The volume that it does, in the for me to have to pay employees to answer the phone and to help people. I mean, the web page does it. It takes minimal labor to process that order. So that's why people are going, why is this? It's not expensive. Look at what the web page costs you. Compare that to your payroll.
Right.
You're going to come out ahead utilizing your POS, utilizing those features. Oh my gosh! It just do 15 minutes a day on the web page. Add a few things. Add your balloons. Add your candy. Put those add-ons on. It increases the bottom line. The tips. Oh my gosh! You implemented the tips. We're getting driver tips and shop helps more than ever. I had a coffee shop in the store a couple 3 years ago, and they would always tip the espresso, but they would never tip the florist. So at the bottom on the receipts, I put gratuities are welcome. Guess what? We started getting tips.
Right.
And that's little extras that we can give back to our employees and put towards Christmas and parties and food and lunches. and help our employees get a little bit extra, say, hey, thanks. So great job on that, Joe. I'm looking forward to this next year and the changes and the upgrades. I'm excited.
We definitely have some cool upgrades coming up, so stay tuned for that. Awesome. So Mike Hollenbeck from Floral Artistry in Lewiston, Idaho. Thank you so much for joining me, Mike.
You bet, Joe. Look forward to talking with you again.
Hey, Mike, where can they find you online? What's your website and your social media handles?
Oh, thank you. Floralartistry.com is our webpage. And my name, Mike Hollenbeck, AIFD, at gmail.com is my, you can email me with any questions. Find me on Facebook, Mike Hollenbeck, AIFD, friend me if you're out there. Any questions? I am an open book. If you want to call me, send me a private message about anything we've talked about, I will be more than happy to help you. We are in this as a team as florists. And that's one of the things I love about the Lovingly, and one of the terms you've done, the Lovingly Circle, because it is a family, and family takes care of family, and with that, everybody succeeds.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Mike.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We want to help your business bloom. Check out more episodes of Flower Shop Secrets. Watch now on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for new episodes.